I'm gonna turn yours on too. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the April 28th, 2025 meeting of the Florissant City Council. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Shildroth. Here. O'Donnell. Here. Pagano. Here. Siam. Here. Harris.
Here.
Manganelli. Here. Egan. Caputa.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections to the meeting minutes of April 14, 2025? Hearing none, Councilman Manganelli moves to approve the minutes, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. This is a time to speak to the council on any issue not necessarily on the agenda for 3 minutes. This is not a question and answer period. If you would like to speak to any council member or the mayor, please stay until after the meeting is over. If you are here to speak on a public hearing, please wait and speak when the public hearing is announced. Okay, there are no public comments during this time, so we will move on to communications, and we have no communications this evening. The next item on the agenda is public hearings. Public hearing number 2504010.
In accordance with Section 405.135 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri, in the Council Chambers, 955 Rue St. Francois, on Monday, April 28, 2025, at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to rezone the property located at 1210 Paddock Drive, 1220 Paddock Drive, and 2650 Parker Road from R4 single-family dwelling to a B5 planned commercial district. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
Okay, is the petitioner present? Would you please come forward? Would you please state your name and your city?
So I'm Father Bill Kempf. I am the pastor at Sacred Heart in Florissant and also overseeing the property in question, and I'm living in Florissant.
Welcome, Father Kemp.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Will you please tell us about your project?
Thank you. So I approached the council once more, just trying to provide outreach and service to the community for the good of the Florissant people, and by asking you to rezone the property formerly known as St. Rose Philippine Duchenne at the corner of Park and Paddock, as you heard, at the recommendation of Deborah Irvin, instead of doing... sorry, is that better? Yeah. Thank you. So at the recommendation of Deborah Irvin, instead of doing a special use permit every time we have a renter there, she recommended moving to this modified B5 format before you. That way, I don't have to keep coming up here. You don't have to keep listening to me. You don't have to keep going through all the paperwork. And within that petition, on lines 44 to 48, you hear this: with the limited restrictions in the R4 single-family district, this rezoning does alleviate a hardship and is not simply for the convenience of the applicant, and that the buildings on this parcel of land are consistent with good planning practices, and that the buildings can be maintained in a manner that is visibly compatible with the use of the property and the surrounding area that would otherwise leave the buildings vacant, creating an attractive nuisance. My goal, and really my only goal, is to put in those places, one, to have them not vacant, but organizations that are good for the community, doing social, educational, and counseling resources. Currently, we have 2 groups that are ready to move in if and once we, pass through these hurdles. One is a group called Jadasa. They've been around for 23 years. They've kind of outgrown their current space, but that's called Journey Against Domestic and Sexual Abuse. They bring hope, healing, and resources to survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, dating violence, and stalking in North County. They would use the rectory primarily as their offices. They mostly are a referral group, so they put folks in need with the various services that can provide them. There's no overnight stay. It's just their office space where they will do the ministry that they've been doing for the past 23 years. The second group is actually, and the director is here, so if you have some specific questions, she can answer better than I can. The second group will be looking to use the former convent. It's a group called St. Joseph the Worker. It's a Catholic counseling company run actually by some parishioners of Sacred Heart. They too have kind of outgrown their spaces and are looking to, and really both groups are looking for long-term leases in these spaces. I still really don't want to have the vacant buildings, and I really could use the income to help maintain them. If you've driven by there recently, we've kind of taken out a lot of the landscaping, which we're going to replace with grass seed, so it's easier to maintain. It still looks attractive and good. It makes it easier for my maintenance guys to take care of 4 sets of properties. There has been a study, I think it was out of California, that estimates in the next, I forget how many years, I don't remember the dates, but within a short amount of time, over 1/3 of the current houses of worship will be vacant. So changing the zone, and we're seeing some of that here in St. Louis already, so changing the zoning will allow us the opportunity to keep the properties viable, to continue in some ways to support, though not directly under us, the ministries that the Catholic Church has been known for all these years in terms of helping people in difficult situations, helping them to become strong, vibrant, and successful people. So that's the gist of my petition before you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the City Council? Councilman Caputa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Father, welcome.
Thank you.
I have a question about any kind of construction or demo work that you would have in the future or on your plans now, because there's none on what we have tonight.
The only changes, as I understand, would be interior and just cosmetic. So there's some wallpaper that is peeling, so that would be upgraded. Some painting that would need to be done, but there's no anticipated changes to the physical structures on the outside or the inside.
So no major construction inside at this time?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, Father.
Thank you.
Father, I think I understand this, but just to reiterate and for maybe some that didn't understand it, we used the term to move in. We were talking in terms of organizational entities, not necessarily residential moving in.
That is correct. Yeah, there would be no one living in those places, just renting the spaces for their organization.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all I had. Thanks, Father.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pagano.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
So are these normal business hours? Do you know, like, the business hours of any of these?
For the one group, as far as I know, normal. Nothing that would go too late, but 8:05.
8 to 5. Is that the second one he mentioned, or is
That's
that
the first one. She's with Jadasa. Yeah, Jadasa.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And the other group, again, it's women who run the counseling center. I can't imagine them being
Right,
up
okay.
late.
No,
so,
I just didn't know if
yeah.
they came in for counseling or if they needed help at the moment, if somebody's there. I just don't understand.
Yeah, normal office hours, whatever those would be.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Okay. I don't see any more questions or comments from the council, so I will, before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Please come forward. Mrs. Doyle. And stand by there just in case there's a question. Thank you. Okay, please state your name and your city.
Mary Carol Doyle, Florissant, Missouri.
Thank you.
First of all, I fully support my parish's vision for utilizing this property. It is much better than having vacant buildings, and what better than to have Catholic outreach programs. My concern just has to do with zoning in particular. It almost sounds like spot zoning. Now, when you say modified zoning, does that mean that in the future, at some point in time, it's very realistic to think that the Archdiocese will want to sell this property? Not for a while, I hope, but down the line, if they do wish to sell it, will whoever purchases it be expected to be with this modified zoning? In other words, you can't tear down and build buildings and create parking issues or bring businesses in. This is in the middle of Paddock, which is residential. And most of your businesses are on major arteries. You got them on Lindbergh and Waterford, Newhall's Ferry and Parker, Florissant Road. You know what I'm getting at. Parker Road is not a major artery, and neither is Paddock.
Yeah, I can answer that question. It's very restrictive, and whatever is on that B5 now, they can't go and put a fast food place there. They can't. There's things they can't do. They can only do what's on the B5 currently for that property.
Okay, because I was reading through all the zoning information, and I'm sorry, as an English teacher and a writing teacher, I expect things to be clear, and it was really difficult to wade through that. I don't know that vocabulary. So then using our campus for some outreach counseling would mean that in the future, this particular type of zoning would then prevent other types of businesses from coming in.
B5s, yes.
Because that's the big issue, because that would set a terrible precedent. Like Father said, there are so many other church properties who down the line may be having to look at ways to reuse, their buildings. Okay, that was my big one, but I just have an interesting question. Counseling, and certainly the work that these people do, kind of falls under the umbrella of education. Why would the zoning have to be different? Because the current zoning, the residential one, allows for churches, schools. Is there any way that all of this could take place without having to rezone?
Yeah, I think it's specific to, the zoning, I think is specific to a school right now.
Okay.
And that's not the same as.
Not
counseling's
the
same
umbrella of
right,
education
I believe so.
that I'm envisioning.
Right, but you are right that a lot of counseling does take place in schools.
Okay, all right.
So.
And then just something else that popped into my head. Currently, the Parker Road School has been using the top part of that parking lot, and I'm assuming that might not happen anymore if, I guess that's something that would have to be dealt with. That's neither here nor there.
And we sign a contract with them every year, and they get to use it. They also keep it clear. So
Okay, I understand, gotcha. So they could, if it had to be modified, that would not be an issue.
it would not be an issue.
All right. Okay, well, that's all my
All right,
concerns.
thank you for being here.
Thank
for
you
the
very
discourse.
much for
Yes,
listening.
Absolutely.
Thank you for putting up with me.
Okay, are there any other comments from the audience? Let's see. Seeing no further comments, Councilman Manganelli moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman O'Donnell. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. This public hearing is closed. Okay, public hearing number 2504011.
In accordance with Section 405-125 of the Florissant zoning code, a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri, in the council chambers, 955 Rue St. Francois, on Monday, April 28, 2025, at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to amend special use number 4693 for Ruiz Mexican Cuisine Incorporated to allow for an existing double-sided billboard sign in a B3 extensive business district for the property located at 901 North Highway 67. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
Okay, if the petitioner is present, will you please come forward? Okay. Okay, please state your name and city.
John Marshall, Florissant.
Okay, can you tell us about your project?
Okay, so initially when I purchased the lot in the back, the sign came with it. And I talked to Phil, said, what do I need to do to bring this sign current? I didn't know how the sign was permitted at the time. I don't know what I was allowed to do with it. And he said I was pretty much good since I was the owner of the lot that the sign sat on as well. There wouldn't need to be any transfer of the special use permit. Later down the road, I sent Deborah a proof of a sign I wanted to put up on the other side. And that's what got this ball rolling, is this sign that wasn't, it was, last time it was in an ordinance, it was attached to the car wash, which is no longer there. So the sign sat as non-conforming. So I'm just trying to, I guess, get the paperwork right on that and use it to, provide revenue for me and my business and my family as well.
Okay, thanks for the explanation there. Are there any comments or questions from the council? Okay. Before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Seeing no further comments, Councilwoman Pagano moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Siam. All in favor? Aye. Motion opposed. Motion carried. This public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is old business. The first item is bills for second reading. Bill number 10061. Councilman Manganelli moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Discussion? Okay. Councilman Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just would like to offer up an amendment to strike the brick wall enclosure from the plan and replace it with an open chain link fence surrounded by decorative landscaping.
Okay, there is a motion to strike the brick wall and replace with a chain link fence, seconded by Councilman Childrath. Discussion. Councilman Childrath.
Thank you, Mr. President. At our last meeting, I had some original concerns about a brick wall versus chain link, and after consulting with staff, there was just a minor confusion on my part, and once I got the explanation from staff, Deborah Irvin, and the city attorney, I'm fine with what Mr. Manganelli is proposing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Childrath. Councilwoman Pagano.
Yes, I just want to clarify that there will be no barbed wire on top of this fence, right? Or can that be put in there? I mean, I know that was mentioned last meeting. That really bothered me. I don't mind the chain link. I don't mind the landscaping, but nothing on top of that fence.
To allow the barbed wire, it would also have to be written into the amendment. If you're not writing it into the amendment, then it wouldn't be allowed. There's a separate provision in the code that does not allow barbed wire.
Okay.
So there should be no, I don't think it's necessary to write it in, but you could if you wanted to.
All right. I just knew that was discussion last meeting, so I was concerned that somehow or another that didn't get on there. All
Okay,
right,
thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Councilman Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I was just going to say I don't want any barbed wire either, and that's why I mentioned the open chain link fence, so they grab up there, it ain't going to feel good, and it won't be as unsightly as barbed wire. All right, thanks.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to amend this bill. So I guess we proceed with the vote. All in favor? Or hold on, hold please, yeah.
Can we be clear on what the motion is?
Yes.
Right now, the language, I believe, says it's in subsection 2. Section 1, subsection 2, it currently says, "A block with brick overlay enclosure to match the exterior of the school with a minimum height of 6 feet and tower cabinets no higher than 6 feet below the brick wall. Compound size shall be 30 by 70 calculation and a 6 feet wall height." So I believe your request is to amend a block with brick overlay enclosure to match the school, and you'll replace that with the language that was originally in the staff report, which is a chain link fence. So it's still going to be 6 feet. The rest of that section is still going to remain. It's just that the block with brick overlay enclosure to match the school will be replaced with a chain link fence. Is that correct? Is that your intent?
Yes, my intent, but also it was discussed to have flowers or decorative landscaping at the base of the fence.
I don't think that was part of the original motion, Councilmember Manganelli, so I think
It
you
was.
need to, it was?
It was, you're right, it wasn't.
Okay, so do you want to take that up in two separate amendments, or do you want to take that up in one? Do you want to request to
I
amend?
had in
your
mind that we
amendment?
could
I was thinking
separately.
just do it all in the one single amendment, if that's possible.
Okay,
That's fine too.
so are you requesting to amend your amendment to do two things? One is replace the block wall with the chain link fence, and second, to replace or to add a requirement, and this is in line with the code, at section 405240A6E, which provides that, let's see, actually it's D, which provides that the support structure should be surrounded by a landscape strip of not less than 10 feet in width.
Yes, I thought that's
Okay.
what I had originally.
Okay,
I thought that I had that all in one motion.
Yes.
Or one, yeah, okay.
So the motion has been adjusted to include both the change in the material of the wall and also landscaping to be included.
yes.
Do we want to read it one more time?
And-
Or are we all clear on this? Yeah.
Open chain link. Open chain link fence.
With a 10-feet landscape, a 10 feet in width, oh, okay, a landscape strip of not less than 10 feet in width.
Yes.
Okay. So Councilman Manganelli has made a motion, a two-part motion, and it's been seconded by Councilman Childrath. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the amendment has been accepted for the bill. So we would need to read this again, or do we read it from the beginning again?
You'll do a third,
The third reading.
no, now you'll take a vote on the second reading.
Okay,
So
a
the
roll
bill
call
as
vote
amended.
on the second reading.
Childrath. O'Donnell. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Okay, the Councilman Manganelli moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Childrath. All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit for Selective Solutions LLC to allow for a monopole cell tower in a R4 single-family dwelling district for the property located at 1735 Charbonneir Road.
Okay, before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Okay, bill number 10061 passes and becomes ordinance number 9060. Next is bill number 10062. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 6948 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC DBA Subway to allow for a restaurant located at 2544 North Highway 67.
Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Childrath. All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 6948 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC DBA Subway to allow for a restaurant located at 2544 North Highway 67.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Yes.
Bill number 10062 passes and becomes ordinance number 9061. Bill number 10063. Councilman Caputa moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 6947 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC DBA Subway to allow for a restaurant located at 8444 North Lindbergh.
Councilwoman Pagano moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman O'Donnell. All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 6947 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC DBA Subway to allow for a restaurant located at 8444 North Lindbergh.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Yes.
Bill number 10063 passes and becomes ordinance number 9062. Is that correct? Let's make sure. Yes. Okay. Bill number 10064. Councilman O'Donnell moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to Chapter 600 alcoholic beverages by deleting it in its entirety and replacing it.
Councilwoman Pagano moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to Chapter 600 alcoholic beverages by deleting it in its entirety and replacing it.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? I see none. Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for a final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Bill number 10064 passes and becomes ordinance number 9063. Bill number 10065, Councilman Siam moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Childrath. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 8321 from Parsons Convenience Store, Inc. to Salma, Inc., DBA Gas Mart 48 to allow for convenience store, filling station, and sign located at 12785 New Halls Ferry Road.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
That was just our.
Ooh, okay. Let's see, Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 8321 from Parsons Convenience Store, Inc. to Salma, Inc., DBA Gas Mart 48 to allow for a convenience store, filling station, and sign located at 12785 New Halls Ferry Road.
Okay, now we have read it 3 times, and is there anyone who would like to comment on this bill? Okay. I see none. Clerk, would you please poll the council? Thank you.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Bill number 10065 passes and becomes ordinance number 9064.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is new business. The first item under new business is board appointments. We have many tonight. I'm going to read all the appointments and from the council, and can we vote as a whole? On the whole, or should we do each separately?
I would do each
Okay.
separately since they're different wards.
Got it. All right, so we'll start with Ward 1. I'd like to reappoint Mary Pat Outlaw to the Citizens Participation Committee, seconded by Shildroth. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the appointment is made. Ward number 2, Councilman Manganelli would like to appoint Michael Johnson to the Personnel Commission, seconded by Pagano. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the appointment has been made. Councilman Caputa would like to reappoint Robert Smith to the Citizens Participation Commission, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor? Any opposed? No. Appointment is made. Ward number 6, Councilman O'Donnell would like to appoint Jean Kebby to the Board of Adjustments as an alternate, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor? Any opposed? The appointment is made. This appointment is for Ward 8, but since Ward 8 is vacant, Councilman Harris appoints Rena Faulkner to the Board of Adjustment as an alternate, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor? Any opposed? The appointment is made. Ward number 9, Councilman Siam would like to reappoint Kaylin Brantley McNeil to the Personnel Commission. Councilman Caputa seconds the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? The appointment is made. Ward number 7, Councilwoman Pagano would like to appoint Kathy Corkery to the Personnel. It's a reappointment for Kathy Corkery to the Personnel Commission. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All in favor? Opposed? And Councilman Shildroth would like to reappoint Robert Nelk to the Planning and Zoning Commission, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the appointment is made. Okay, I see the lights here. Does anyone in here? Okay, we have Mayor Lowry.
Thank you. I wish to reappoint the following 3 individuals to the Senior Commission: Lisa Smith from Ward 4, Denise LaFavor from Ward 9, and Brenda Stokes from Ward 7.
Councilman Manganelli moves to approve these 3 individuals to the Senior Commission, seconded by Councilman Shildroth. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the appointments are made. Congratulations to everyone who has been appointed. Thank you so much for your service. A couple are here tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. Next on the agenda is, oh, you do? Okay, I apologize. Councilman Shildroth.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to reappoint Christine Kyle to the Citizens Participation Committee.
Okay, Christine Kyle is, this is a reappointment?
Yes, sir.
Reappointment to the Citizens Participation Committee.
Yes, sir.
Seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, are there any other appointments this evening? Mr. Caputa, do you have an appointment? Okay. Councilwoman Pagano? Okay, I can clear these out. Okay. Yes, okay. Councilman O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to reappoint Teresa Matashek from Ward 6 to the Landmark and Historic District Commission.
What was the commission again?
Landmark and Historic District.
Okay. Councilman Pagano would like to reappoint,
O'Donnell.
O'Donnell would like to reappoint Teresa
Matishak.
Matishak to the Landmark and Historic District Commission. Councilwoman Pagano seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The appointment is made. Thank you. I think this is a record. Okay, are there any more? Thank you so much for everyone who is willing to serve. Okay, I think it's safe to move on now to the requests. For our next item, we did have a request from Jimmy's Nail Bar. However, the applicant has requested the council's consideration of their liquor license be postponed to May 12th. So I will move for that to be postponed to May 12th. Is there a second? Okay, Councilwoman Pagano will second that. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the item is postponed to May 12th. Thank you. Bills for first reading. Bill number 10067.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Lockmuir Group for the right-of-way land acquisition for Melanthropy Project STP 4901.
Councilman Schildroth moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Lockmuir Group for the right-of-way land acquisition for Melanthropy Project STP-4901.
Councilman Schildroth moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Roll call vote, please.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan. I'm sorry, Caputa.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Bill number 10067 passes. It becomes ordinance number 9065. Bill number 1068.
Ordinance authorizing the rezoning of property located at 1210 Paddock Drive, 1220 Paddock Drive, and 2650 Parker Road from R4 single-family dwelling to a B5 planned commercial district.
Bill number 10069.
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to special use number 4693 for Ruiz Mexican Cuisine Incorporated to allow for an existing double-sided billboard sign in a B3 extensive business district for the property located at 901 North Highway 67.
Bill number 10070.
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to Chapter 220.100, burning garbage, rubbish, etc., to add provisions for recreational fires.
Bill number 10071.
Ordinance, Ordinance authorizing an amendment to the 2025 annual budget by amending the police department personnel schedule by adding and deleting certain job classifications.
Councilman Schildroth moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance amending the 2025 annual budget by amending the police department personnel schedule by adding and deleting certain job classifications.
Councilman Schildroth moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Roll call vote, please.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Yes. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill?
I need to read it.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have anyone moving for a third reading?
Move for third.
Okay, Councilman O'Donnell moves for a third reading.
We
Seconded by Councilwoman Pagano.
We did a third
We did that,
reading,
okay.
yes. I just need to read it. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm
One
a
more
little slow.
reading, and then we will take a vote. Yeah.
Ordinance amending the 2025 annual budget by amending the police department personnel schedule by adding and deleting certain job classifications.
Okay, again, is there anyone who'd like to speak on this bill? Okay. Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Caputa.
Bill number 10071 passes and becomes ordinance number 9066. Okay, the next item on the agenda is council announcements. Before we hear from the council, I would like to move to cancel the May 26th, 2025 meeting due to the Memorial Day holiday and some scheduling conflicts. Seconded by Councilman Shildroth. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion has carried. Okay. Are there any announcements from the council? Councilman Shildroth.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to offer my condolences to the family of Rudy Piazza. Rudy was a longtime member of Ward 5. He lived in the Cades Cove neighborhood. And he was a World War II veteran who was awarded 2 Bronze Stars for his service in the Army in the South Pacific. Always a smile on his face, a great bingo caller at our senior events and at McDonald's restaurants and all over. He passed away recently at 102 years old. I'm going to miss you, Rudy. God bless you.
Thank you, Councilman Shildroth. Any more council? Okay. Mayor Lowry.
Thank you. I just want to mention that this weekend is a big weekend in the city of Florissant. It's our Valley of Flowers, our largest festival, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Everything's going to be located at the Shane Home Association grounds. So anything that was at the Egan Center last year is all being moved down there, and everything's going to be in one location this year. Of course, we'll have activities for all ages, live music, food vendors, different types of vendors. On Friday, the park will be open from 4 to 9. On Saturday, it'll be open from 9 to 9. And on Sunday, it'll be open from noon to 7. There'll be the car show will still be on St. Francis Street on Saturday afternoon. On Sunday, the parade will start at the Egan Center and end at the Duchesne Home Association. That starts at 1:45. And we're crowning the new Valley Flowers Queen for 2025 at 4 p.m. under the pavilion. Also, we'll have a plaque dedication for Mary Gettemeyer, which will be on St. Francis at St. Charles Street, and that'll be at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then the other thing I just want to mention is that our registrations are now open for our summer day camp programs. It'll run from 8 weeks, starting a week of June 9th, ending with the last week of July 28th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lowry. The next regular meeting for the City Council will be on Monday, May 12th, 2025. Councilman Siam moves to adjourn the regular meeting, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All in favor? Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned.